What is going on, Woodward Bets Nation? We are back Sunday morning live show. Scott live in studio and a special guest joining us here this Sunday morning on the show. We have Freddie, the pizza man. Freddie, I'm going to start with you, my man. Say Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to you, your family. Thank you so much for joining us and welcome to the show.
No, thank you for having me, man, and Merry Christmas to everyone out there, and Happy New Year, obviously. And I'm here with about 10 extra pounds of pasta in my stomach today, but I made it, so I'm an early riser.
Yeah, we're all here with extra, whether it's pasta, food. Scott, probably a few extra beers on board. Scott, Merry Christmas to you, buddy. How was your holiday?
Oh, can't complain. You were right with the beers there. I indulged in quite a few Modelo's yesterday, which I woke up this morning a little fuzzy, but hey, we're here. We got Sunday football to break down, and looking forward to it. So we can we got to pay for them Christmas gifts somehow, there, buddy.
We got to get that lunch money, as we like to say. So Week 16 is here. We will break down the main slate, give you all of our favorite picks in fantasy, and a lot of fantasy playoffs, fantasy championships coming down this week. I know Freddie's got some tough decisions to make at the quarterback position, so we are here to help with all of those decisions, DFS plays. And, of course, as it says on the sign behind me, our favorite bets here for this Week 16 slate. So, first, Freddie, I want to give you the floor here. You know, not only are you Freddie the pizza man, I just want to bring some of this to light. People that aren't familiar, why don't you give the people just a quick backstory, how you got started, some of the amazing things that you are doing in the community, especially in autism, I know, is one that hits home for you. It hits home for me as well, some of my family members. So, I want to make sure people know what's going on there. It's not only the Barstool thing. That was great, brought more light to your story. That's great. We want to continue to do that. So just give the people a quick rundown of everything you got going on, including an amazing charity.
Well, Freddie Pizza Man is very simple. I'm just a very hands-on guy. Everything I do myself with my two hands, and pizza, foundation, the pizza, big passion of mine. I love it, but pizza's given me everything in my life, and everything I do, everything I have is because of pizza. And the foundation is something that I started 5 years ago. I have goals, everything I do. I have big goals, anything I do, and I didn't expect it to turn out this way, big as it's gotten, as many schools I've done. The foundation, we have done 37 schools in the state of Michigan, over nearly $60,000 in equipment that we have personally bought. And we're very hands-on. It's just how we are. And autism has touched our family. And for us, our goal is to help every family member that we can. The only way we can do that is help through schools. So if we can equip a sensory room in the state of Michigan, it's helping the kids. In turn, it's helping the teacher. Obviously, it's going to help the parents when the kids get home. So Freddie the Pizza Man Foundation for Autism is a big, big passion of mine. And I live it every day. So it means a lot to me.
Oh, it's great. Love to see it. I know it's been a big success, and hopefully more people get involved with it. And Scott, I know that you've been a big supporter of Freddie and the pizza. I know you love to hit over there. I have not yet had it yet, Freddie. This is a mistake by me. I've yet to make it over there, so it's certainly on my to-do list. Also, I really want to get involved. I also want to get involved with the foundation. I love what you got going on. But, Scott, I know you can vouch for everything that Freddie's got going on here.
Oh, man. Chris, I'll tell you, big expectations came with, when a Dave Portnoy rolls through and gives you an 8.7 on your pizza, and you put your pizza nuts on the table. And then, for me, I was driving there thinking, man, this has got to be the best pizza I've ever ate. I was driving there expecting that. And Chris, he came through. He delivered. It was the best pizza I ever ate. No, hands down. I've been all around. I've been to Vegas. I've been all around the country, tried different pizza, and Freddie nailed it. So I've been there a few times, brought pizza in here to everybody at Woodward Sports one day, which I know everybody really enjoyed. But, yeah, love having Freddie here. And, we'll get down there, Chris. We'll get down there and get us a pizza.
Imagine how much pressure that puts on me. I knew how good my pizza was because that's who I am. Not cocky. I'm very confident. I know who I am. But imagine how much pressure that puts on me when people come into my place. The minute they walk through the door, they lock their eyes on me. Like, who is that guy, and how did he get an 8.7? So I'm not gonna satisfy everybody. I know that. I know I've learned this a long time ago in the restaurant business. But when you come in with those expectations, it's a lot of pressure on a guy like me. You should see some of my direct messages, some of my emails. 99% of them are fantastic, but the 1%, boy, they want to knock you down, make sure you didn't get no 8.7. They let you know about it. So, but listen, I take it all on. I relish it all, man. I love it. So I love the pressure.
Hey, 99%. I'll take that. And we know what you mean. If we don't nail every bet here, most people are happy. Hey, you gave me some winners. You hit most of your bets, but there'll be the few like, you went 5-1. I put everything on that one and that loss. So, it happens.
Yeah, they
everywhere,
remind you of the one you lost. I know.
Absolutely. You keep hearing about that one. So you just keep doing your thing, my man, and we'll continue to do the same. But I'm excited to get down there and try everything out and get more involved with everything you got going on. But we are here to talk Week 16. Guys, quick recap from yesterday. Obviously, Christmas Day. Hopefully you guys had an amazing day, both you, your families, everybody out there. Also had some football we want to just recap real quick. Green Bay survives that game against Cleveland. Looked like they were going to run away with things, and Cleveland hung around. Green Bay ends up winning 24-22. Then we also had the nightcap. So, Scott, quick recap on these games. Did you see anything there that stood out to you? Anything crazy? Jonathan Taylor comes out and rips off a long run to start that late-night game. Just quick thoughts on the Christmas Day slate.
Yeah, I mean, I got in there. I'm a little disappointed in Green Bay that they didn't just beat up on Cleveland as much as I kind of thought they would. I think Rodgers hurt it. I mean, he got his toe stepped on there a few times. He looked uncomfortable in that game. But, yeah, I mean, for me, Adams is just Adams. I mean, 27 points there on FanDuel. You had to have him last night. But and then he kind of dual slate there, or two-game slate. But, yeah, that game here was interesting. Jonathan Taylor keeps continuing on. I mean, he's got to be in discussion for the MVP. But, yeah, Arizona, they better get their shit together or they're going to miss the playoffs.
Yeah, they're heading down a treacherous path for sure. I mean, they just don't look right. I mean, the loss of DeAndre Hopkins, no James Conner last night, that certainly doesn't help. Freddie, any thoughts on these games? You get a chance to watch some football yesterday.
Well, I watched the first game, Cleveland and Green Bay. I have Adams on my fantasy team, and I also have the running back. Why am I number 28 for Green Bay? No, Green Bay, 28. Why am I Dylan? I put him in yesterday. I wish I didn't. But anyways, Adams did well. But the first thing about the game that caught my eye yesterday was the 4 interceptions or 5 interceptions.
Yeah.
It brought me back to Ty Detmer with the Lions when he threw like 5 or 6 interceptions versus Cleveland when he was with the Lions. So, when you let teams hang around, that's what happens, man. Teams come back and cover a spread, and they might just sneak out a win. The second game, I'll be honest with you, I didn't watch. I don't have NFL Network, so I couldn't watch the game. So I was interested, but I did think about the running back for Indianapolis. No one's really talking about it. There's 17 games in the season now. This guy's going to get 2,000 yards.
Yeah.
And that 17th game may help this guy. When you look back, O.J. Simpson, Barry Sanders, they got their 2,000 yards in 14 games. And people are going to say, well, Barry Sanders had 16 games. He only had 53 yards his first 2 games. He had exactly 2,000 in the last 14 games. So this guy, 17 games, he might get 2,000 yards. Is that flawed? I don't know. So that's all I got in the game.
Yeah, I mean, anyone that wants to downplay Barry Sanders, I instantly just kind of walk away. I mean, how could you have anything bad to say about his ability on the football field? But you're right. A lot of these records are going to be broken with extra games. I'm sure they're going to continue to expand the season. It could go to 20 weeks eventually. The NFL knows we are a printing money machine. The more football that's on TV, the better for us and our owners and our players. So maybe not health-wise, but money-wise, I think you'll continue to see the schedule get pushed out more and more and more over the next 5, 10, 20 years.
I'm sorry, I'll say one thing about Arizona. They might want to put back Colt McCoy. They were playing better when they had Colt McCoy.
Yeah, Kyler doesn't look right. Something's not right. That offense is just not clicking, putting points on the board. So we'll see if they're able to right the ship here. I'd said that loss in Detroit is going to stick with them. It's one of those you get punched in the mouth and it doesn't go away in a day or two. It hangs out for a couple weeks, and I think you're going to see that hangover here with the Arizona Cardinals continue to the end of the season. So, guys, let's get into the meat of the show here. If you're watching us on YouTube, welcome. If you guys have any questions for us, for Freddie, sound off in that chat. We'll incorporate as many questions as we can. If you're watching on Twitch, welcome. And, of course, if you're catching us on your favorite podcast streams, welcome there as well. Make sure you're following us on Twitter at Woodward Bets. Follow the network at Woodward Sports and give us all a follow on Twitter as well. But guys, let's dive into the games here. 11 games on the main slate to break down. We'll start with the Giants and Philadelphia first up for us. Philly up to a 10-point favorite, 10.5. Hell, there's even an 11 out there, so this spread really on the move with the news of Jake Fromm taking the start here at quarterback for the New York Giants. Total kind of falling here as well, down to 40.5. So Jake from State Farm, Scott, any interest there? Cheap quarterback play. Philadelphia, we've seen Miles Sanders play well. Jalen Hurts, always an option as well. Thoughts on this game, Philadelphia?
Man, how bad is Mike Glennon for Jake Fromm? They said he didn't even know half of the playbook, and then that's why they couldn't play him before. Now all of a sudden they're going to run him out there. But, Chris, if you recall, man, Jalen Hurts might be having some kind of twitches here of old memory he's going to bring up, because this is a situation when Jalen Hurts and Fromm played each other in the college football playoff. Old Saban pulled the move of the century and benched him for Tua. So we'll see what happens here in this game. Maybe old Jalen Hurts is going to get through this game here. But for me, though, Jalen Hurts is a guy you could literally play by yourself. He can run a couple two touchdowns in. But I'm not really interested in any of these running backs here from this game.
Yeah, I mean, Sanders for sure. It's been a guy that's put up a lot of yardage, not a lot of touchdowns. He's not finding the end zone. So, Freddie, any thoughts on this one? Jalen Hurts always gives you big-time upside with his legs. The Giants, I think, are going to struggle to score points. Jake Fromm, we've seen in his limited opportunities. Great college quarterback, no doubt, but it just has not transitioned to the NFL. So I like Philly here. I like Hurts. I don't mind Sanders, even Dallas Goedert at the tight end position. I think are all viable plays. So thoughts on this one, Freddie, Giants and Eagles?
Well, you know, I had big hopes for Sanders. I took him on he was one of my first picks in the fantasy draft this year. He has not done well. Jalen Hurts is he's a guy I've always liked. I was hoping the Lions would take him in the second round a couple of years ago. I was pushing for him, and then Philly jumped up and got him. Miles Sanders, you know, I think they got to run the ball. They got to run the ball today. Just kind of. I mean, listen, the Giants are a mess. On the way here, I was hearing Joe Judge might be out. The quarterback didn't he send out some terrible text messages and Buffalo cut him, and they're a mess. I mean, Philly, Hurts is a great play, and Sanders, to me, I think is going to be a really good play today. And again, the Giants are a mess. And if you just heard, I just noticed here, Kelsey's out. Travis Kelce is out for Kansas City. So.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't see that one coming. So It sounded like he was trending towards a return. So we'll discuss that as we get closer to that Kansas City game. But obviously a big boost for a guy like Noah Gray as a value tight end. Tyreek Hill probably gets the biggest bump. Maybe they even lean on the run a little bit more with CEH. So, Freddie, breaking some news for us. Travis Kelce out today for the Kansas City. That's a big blow to season-long people, too. I know I've got him on quite a few teams here in the playoffs. So, we're going to be scrambling here as well, just like a lot of people will with that news. Let's move on to our next game here. We've got the Rams and the Minnesota Vikings. This one, guys, one of the higher totals we have on the slate. This one is nearing 50. Obviously, the big news here, no Dalvin Cook for the Minnesota Vikings today. Alexander Mattison going to get a full load there. Adam Thielen remains questionable. They sound optimistic they could get him back in the lineup here. Cam Akers, not going to play today, Scott, but surprisingly activated by this Rams team. We thought he was done for the year. So if they're able to get him back, add him to a backfield of Sony Michel, Darrell Henderson, I mean, that's probably that's the best three-headed monster we have in all of football. But for today's game, Scott, a lot of ways you can go. You know, this one's going to have some scoring, whether you go with Madison, Justin Jefferson, a fantastic play. Other side, can always go with Stafford. Cooper Kupp has been an absolute monster. He's almost a must-play these days. So tons of ways you could go, Scott. Narrow it down. Who are you looking at in this game?
Yeah, I think this game's got to be one of the best, the highest scoring game, had the most fruitfulness in DFS. I mean, obviously Cooper Kupp, you always got to look at playing him. I mean, he's the fantasy darling so far this season. Obviously the MVP. If you have him, you should be playing today in your semifinals. If you're not, you must have stunk it up everywhere else. But Chris, in this game here, I mean, how many times do we see Kirk Cousins light it up at 1 o'clock? He can't do anything any other time slot. He can't do anything else. He can't do anything on them island games late. But, man, at 1 o'clock, he seems to just put it together. So, I mean, the sample size is pretty big with it. I mean, it's time and time again. And with all these weapons that Minnesota has here, I think you just got to keep on looking at, you know, the Thielens, the Madisons. Madison is not too far of a drop-off from Cook, so I don't mind that at all. KJ Osborne, of course, Jefferson. But, yeah, I think this game's definitely interesting as far as all the different fantasy goodness here. So I'm going to be all over this game. It's my favorite game here. But as far as I'm thinking, Chris, I think Cousins is the way to go here, not Stafford.
Freddie, thoughts on this one? This one should be fun. This is probably the best fantasy-friendly game on the slate, even without Dalvin Cook, like Scott said. You know, a lot of people make the argument running backs don't matter. You can just plug a guy in. This is certainly one of those cases where, yeah, maybe he's not Dalvin Cook, but Alexander Mattison has shown when he gets the ball, he gets the opportunity, he can be very good. So, Kupp, Madison, I mean, you got Stafford, Cousins, Jefferson, a lot of ways you can go in this one. Thoughts on this one, Freddie, Rams and Vikings?
Well, I'm a big fan of Madison. I have him on my team, and one of my techniques when I'm picking fantasy teams is you look at the big boys getting picked. Like Cook is a guy that Dalvin Cook is a guy that gets picked very early, but then you also know he gets hurt a lot. You look at those guys that get hurt a lot, you always want to pick up their backup running back. Madison's a guy I picked up right away, and he has done well for me, and I got him in today. And, again, he's not really that much of a drop-off from Cook. Now, I'd rather have Cook. On the Rams side, Van Jefferson is a guy you got to watch. You think you get more touches, but I get it. I mean, you got Kupp there, and you have so many other guys. And I think the Rams are trying to establish their run because when you get to the playoffs, you've got to establish the run. So you said no Cam Akers today, but he is activated. Maybe they sneak him in. Who knows? But Madison, for me, is the guy on the Minnesota side to watch out for today.
Yeah, he's pretty cheap over on FanDuel, especially, you know, looking between the two sites. They did not price him up with this news. So very good value over there. We got a couple questions in the chat, so I'm going to try to mix these in as they come in. Anthony Reed wants to know, we're going to go to the tight end position here, guys. So quick thoughts here. Dawson Knox for Buffalo or Mike Gesicki. We know a lot of people are torn with their playoff matchups. Buffalo going to be down some receivers. I lean Dawson Knox personally. No Gabriel Davis in that lineup here. Guys, quick thoughts on this. Dawson Knox or Mike Gesicki of the Dolphins?
I'm kind of with you. I would definitely say Knox. Seems with Tua, Waddle's his guy. So I would definitely go Knox.
Yeah, I like Knox as well. Knox is the only guy that I think that here that it just seems to be consistent. Gesicki's so up and down. I'd rather roll with Allen on the other side of that ball than Tua.
He wants to know Sony Michel, Justin Jackson, or local boy Amon-Ra St. Brown with no Jared Goff. I'm going to go Justin Jackson here, guys. We're going to get to that Chargers game, but no Austin Eckler today for the Chargers. So I think that's a big loss, obviously, but a huge spot here for Justin Jackson to kind of pick up the slack. So, Freddie, thoughts on that one? Three-way here. Who are we playing at the flex?
For me, it's Sony Michel. I think the Rams are trying to establish their run. When the playoffs come, you have to have that running game. You know, around here, Stafford's never had a running game, so give him a running game. Poor guy.
Yeah, just looking at this game with the running backs. I mean, Sony Michel is obviously a better play. He's the guy they've been leaning on here. But Henderson coming off the COVID, I don't know if they're going to use him a little bit more. I think they tried to wean him in a little bit there. But yeah, I think this game though is going to be interesting. I think Minnesota at home. I think the Rams may be playing from behind here. I actually like Minnesota in this spot. I think Minnesota is going to throw the ball around quite a bit. So. Yeah, I think this game's got potential to be a track meet. I don't know. I'm not a fan of the running backs really here in this game. I think I'm a fan of the passing side here so far today.
All right, a couple votes for Sony Michel there. So if you guys got questions, we'll try to work them in here as we move through these games. So don't be shy. Fire away there in the chat. We are here to get you on the right track. Next game, guys, this one should be fun. Maybe not as much for fantasy purposes. We just talked Dawson Knox, but Buffalo and New England is our next game here. a huge game for real-life football, and sometimes it doesn't translate as well to fantasy, to DFS, but certainly a game I'm excited to see here. The last time we saw these two teams was that weather game where New England throws the ball 3 times in that one and comes away with the win. So Buffalo backs against the wall here. Almost a must-win spot here to stay alive in this divisional race, Freddie. I'm going to start with you on this one. I'm excited to see this game. I think Buffalo has a real shot here to get back a little revenge against New England. How do you see this one playing out?
Well, Buffalo will be ready for the running game of New England, that's for sure. So if you know Bill Belichick, the guy's a genius. He's probably going to completely switch it up. I don't know what the weather is today in New England, but he's probably going to completely switch it up and maybe throw the ball 70 times today. So if you got any wide receivers or tight ends, Jonas Smith, he's a guy I've always liked. You got him. He might be a guy you might want to take today.
Yeah, it doesn't look like any major weather here. The only one that's Chicago and Seattle could have some snow, low temperatures there. Looks like Kansas City, maybe a little bit of wind, but nothing major on the weather front here, Scott, unless I'm missing something. So your thoughts here again, fantasy-wise, how many plays can we really pull out of this game? I know no Ramondre Stevenson. Damian Harris questionable. Sounds like he's going to give it a go here. I mentioned Gabriel Davis out on the other side. No Cole Beasley as well. So Buffalo going to be down a few pass catchers. So what are your thoughts here? Diggs, Knox, you staying away from this one in DFS? What are we doing here on this one?
Yeah, obviously, I mean, as we mentioned all week, I think Buffalo is just salivating for this matchup. They were thoroughly embarrassed. I know in some of the questions post-game there that these Bills were just asked questions time and time again about, how many times they ran the ball on them, only throwing it 3 times. I think you're going to get a bee's nest here in these Buffalo Bills. They're going to be pretty upset. They're going to want every bit of that New England victory today. So, I mean, for me, Chris, I mean, without those running backs, without Stevenson there, Harris being hurt, I think that's obviously the strength here of New England. Without them being healthy here, I think the task is going to be a little bit too tall here for New England. But I think Freddie's right. I wouldn't doubt it if they drop Mac Jones back a bunch of times here and try to just completely do something different here to this Bills team. But Chris, a guy like Josh Allen, for me, I know in DFS a lot of people like to play the correlation, like to have the, tight end or the quarterback paired up with the receiver. But I mean, Josh Allen's the kind of guy with that rushing upside. You could just play him by himself. So I don't mind that theory at all. But Diggs, he's pretty expensive in the DFS circles, but I do like him and Knox. I think most of that, all the different opportunities are probably going to go to those two guys. I mean, we've seen Davis kind of hop in there a little bit here recently, but I'm just not a fan of the upside there. But I think this game here is going to be playoff type atmosphere. It's one of the games I'm looking forward to watching today. I think the Bills are going to get their revenge here. I think the Bills are actually going to smash New England today.
Yeah, Tommy Mayer in the chat said he's a Bills fan today and only today. So I'd love to see the one-day fandom on a team. So it should be a fun game to watch. The line kind of moving, Scott. It was 2 earlier in the week. It's down to 1 in some play. Most places are at 1 now in favor of New England. I think we're both kind of on the Buffalo side of this one. We'll see if it makes our best bets here coming up at the end of the show. Next game, guys, Tampa Bay and the Carolina Panthers. And Tom Brady coming off a shutout, certainly going to be looking to put some points on the board. And this Carolina defense has started out the season strong. They have not been as good here of late, but problem is he's going to be without his top 2 wideouts, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans. Does get Antonio Brown back in that lineup. We also have no Leonard Fournette here for Tampa Bay, so Ronald Jones becomes a value play you could look to, both in season-long and your DFS contest. Carolina side, DJ Moore going to be a game-time decision. And, guys, Sam Darnold is back, so it becomes a musical chairs between Cam Newton and Sam Darnold. They are saying he's expected to play and play a lot. So what that means, not sure, but I'd probably stay away from most things on the Carolina side. Freddie, let's go to you here. How does Tom Brady respond here? Coming off a shutout, we've heard a lot of talk about angry Tom Brady. He's going to come out and take it out on this Carolina team. Is that how you see this one playing out today?
Well, that's who Tom Brady is, right? So Tom Brady, if you remember last year, the Tampa Bay Kansas City matchup in the regular season about Thanksgiving time was their last loss last year. They lost to Kansas City. He wasn't happy about it. They never lost another game in the regular season. Obviously, they didn't lose in the playoffs, and they won the Super Bowl, right? So when you see Tom Brady throw that tablet Sunday, it was for a purpose. He knows what he's doing. The guy's smart. He's going to rally the team. Antonio Brown's coming back. Listen, Carolina, they were my sleeper pick at the beginning of the year to go to the NFC Championship game this year. Yes, I'll say it. I'll own it. I don't care. They started off 3-0. Defense was good. The injuries have killed that team. The running back, the wide receivers, Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold, listen, I don't know what he is. The reason he's playing today is he's guaranteed $19 million next year. They got to figure out what they got with this guy. So they're a mess. Tampa Bay, for me, Tampa Bay, Antonio Brown today, Tom Brady. Tom Brady's going to light up some numbers today. So he knows what he's doing. Sunday night was very good. Something good for Tom Brady. He needs that once in a while. Chip on his shoulder.
I agree. Sometimes you see a team lose a game like you mentioned. It's a great example. We've seen it over and over and over again, and this was the wake-up call. You know, they were on cruise control. Boom, you hit that speed bump. Time to wake up, time to focus, and I think you see that here this week against Carolina. Scott, it's a question of...
Chris, I just want to say real quick, one of the big things you always hear, you heard it here a lot with Stafford, is he doesn't do that in the media, right? He doesn't do that in public. He might do it behind closed doors. I think it's better when you do it in front of the camera and everyone's watching, because it tells you what kind of person they are. And they rally a team that way. Bill Parcells was famous for that.
That's why he's got all the Super Bowls he has. He knows what he's doing out there. You know, he's
100%.
Getting it done. So, Scott, do we want to go the passing game here, the running game, both? I mean, again, Ronald Jones, very cheap out there. Antonio Brown, super cheap. You could go even deeper. Guys like Tyler Johnson. Gronk will probably be popular here. So, mostly Tampa Bay, I'm assuming, for you in DFS. But which way do you prefer here, the passing game or the running game?
Yeah, I think I'd prefer the passing game. Antonio Brown in DFS circles is just way too cheap, especially on DraftKings. I mean, $4,900, that's just absurd. He should definitely be in most of everybody's lineups. He's going to be a guy that I'm going to have quite a bit today. And then Ronald Jones, I've heard some talk about Lev Bell. Just forget it. Just stop it right now. He's not going to play. He's hardly going to see the field. The thing I'd be afraid with Ronald Jones, though, is Vaughn stealing his touchdowns. So that would be something that I'd be a little bit concerned of. But, I mean, Ronald Jones is too cheap, too, in the DFS circles today. I definitely like that. But as far as running backs on the other side, I mean, the only thing I'd even think about playing possibly with Carolina, I mean, if you got Chuba Hubbard in season-long leads, you might want to jam him in there. But, I mean, Tampa's just so tough with in the running game. They've only given up 6 touchdowns all year to running backs. So if Chuba Hubbard gets 50 yards today, I think you should feel pretty lucky. So I'm not looking at any of these guys here. Maybe a Tampa defense today I might look at in DFS circles, especially if they're going to be switching quarterbacks like they are. Darnold, as we know, does have a tendency to turn the ball over. So, yeah, I mean, Carolina here, they've been struggling. I mean, they've lost their last, 4 in a row, the last 5 out of 6. I think this is a game, just like Freddie said. Tom Brady's got that team focused. You don't start smashing stuff like that when you're Tom Brady. I mean, if you're on the team and you're a mid-level player and you see Tom Brady smashing his iPad, I mean, to me, everybody's going to be alert and attentive all week in practice. I think Tampa Bay comes out here and smashes them pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. So I don't mind to play on almost all of these Tampa guys. Jones is a value running back. This Tampa passing game, if you are going to run it back, which means you're loading up on one side, you want a player from the other side. I mean, Carolina, big underdogs. They're going to likely have to throw the ball a ton in this one. So it sounds like DJ Moore, yes, he's questionable, but it sounds like he's trending towards playing. I don't hate him or a Robbie Anderson play, but Tampa Bay, big favorites here. So we'll see what this looks like. But makes our best bets here coming up shortly. Guys, let's get to the game of the week next. Jacksonville and the New York Jets. About the worst game that we could design. Freddie, this is like one of those. Is there ever any pizzas that it doesn't make the cut for some reason? Like you're getting the dough already, and something doesn't look right. Does that ever happen in the pizza business? Because that's this
that
game.
Happens
here.
a lot, buddy. That happens a lot in the pizza game, man. Dough. That's why all the geniuses out there always say, make more dough, make more dough. You can make more money. It doesn't work that way in the pizza business. But listen, this is a game I look at us. A lot of Lions fans wanted Urban Meyer as head coach. I was one of those guys. A lot of fans wanted Robert Saleh as head coach. I was one of those guys. The guy that's the interim head coach for Jacksonville right now was our head coach last year at the end of the season. His name escapes me right now. What a mess. Listen, it's a battle of rookie quarterbacks. Trevor Lawrence has not looked great. Was at Urban Meyer. Zach Smith or whatever his name is, he has not looked great. This game, I mean, what do you say about this game? I mean, honestly, who's going to watch this game? I tried picking up Trevor Lawrence as a quarterback today. I can't get him right now. But, Chris, I don't really have much for you on this game other than Robert Saleh went to my high school, so I'm rooting for him. That's the only thing I can say. If you can put Robert Saleh on fantasy, he'll give you 20 points.
There you go. I'm a big fan. I think he's going to get things going there. Sometimes it takes time, and we've talked about it here locally on the show with Dan Campbell. A lot of people want to bail after 6-8 weeks. Like, this can be a 3, 4, 5-year process to rebuild an NFL team. It doesn't happen overnight. So I think he's got the right mindset. I think guys are going to want to play for him. We're already seeing that. It's just the talent he has to work with is not much. And you mentioned Zach Wilson has not been great. We've seen a lot of rookie quarterbacks come in, Trevor Lawrence included, who was supposed to be the next big thing. Sometimes that can take years as well. We've seen it from Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck. So not ready to write those guys off yet, but Troy Aikman. But I'm certainly writing this game off today, Scott. James Robinson, probably the only guy I'm really looking at here. You do have a lot of injuries in that Jets receiving core. I mean, they're down Elijah Moore, Corey Davis, Jamison Crowder doubtful for today. So, maybe you go to Braxton Berrios, some of these ugly plays. Ty Johnson. I mean, there's some cheap ways you can go here, Scott. James Robinson, though, the headliner and the best matchup you can draw up for a running back this season.
Yeah, you got to look at James Robinson. That Jets defense is just god-awful. I mean, they've given 25 touchdowns to running backs this year. They've given 7 rushers 100 yards or more so far, and especially the last 3. I mean, to me, Robinson's a lock to score a touchdown and at least 100 yards. But, Chris, the thing here that's interesting, the Jets have given 2 or more scores, passing scores, to quarterbacks since week 4. That's 10 straight weeks where the quarterbacks have thrown at least 2. Does Lawrence have it in him today? I think that's the question. I don't know if he's good enough to do it. But obviously here, the only thing here that we care about here in Detroit is if we can get that #1 pick. So obviously that has big implications here on this game. But Chris, I don't even think this one deserves a spot on the red zone thing with all this, with all the games here with all the NFL Network. They just need to leave this one off because I don't know too many people outside of Jacksonville and New York fans that would even want to watch this game.
Yeah, 41-point total here in this one. So that always shows you them high 30s, low 40s. We know this is a bad game. It doesn't take any more signs. But this one, I think even the fans of these two teams likely not watching this game. So let's move on to the local team here, guys. We've waited long enough. Detroit Lions back in action, coming off that huge win at home against those aforementioned Arizona Cardinals, traveling down to Atlanta here to take on the Falcons. Big news here. Guys, no Jared Goff today. Was unable to clear the COVID protocol. So looks like we get another week of Tim Boyle here, Scott. How is that going to translate? Last time we saw him was not great in that game against the Cleveland Browns. They didn't really let him throw a ton. I mean, I'm still a fan of this guy. As a Green Bay fan, he was a backup forever. Love to see him getting his opportunity, but we're talking about a guy that didn't do much in college, has not done much in the NFL, mostly a backup. Now starting today for the Lions. DeAndre Swift questionable here. It would be shocking if he's back in that lineup. I don't see why they would rush him back here. So, Scott, I like Detroit earlier in the week, but can we support Tim Boyle? Can he go down there and get it done in Atlanta this week?
Well, the only good thing for the Lions is Atlanta is just so bad that Tim Boyle should have an opportunity here today to do what he did in Green Bay, and that is kneel on the ball in the victory celebration mode there. But, yeah, I actually don't mind the Lions here. I think if the Lions are going to win today, they're going to have to run the ball. So hopefully Swift is in there, and he'll be able to get going. We're supposed to get Williams back as well, from what I understand. So I think the Lions are going to have to lean on that running game. I don't think Atlanta has too many answers for us here. Atlanta's just been so bad. I think we just got to worry about stopping Cordell Patterson, and we should be in pretty good shape. I'm not really too concerned about Matt Ryan. He hasn't thrown for more than one score since Week 9, so I don't think that we should have to worry too much about that. I think Kyle Pitts is a guy the Lions are going to have to kind of keep an eye on as well. But, I mean, Chris, can we talk about St. Brown for a minute? I mean, this guy here has just emerged as one of the better wide receivers here so far in this month of December. He's been one of the most productive here. So I think, I might go right back to him. The problem I have, though, here, Chris, with St. Brown does scare me a little bit. I don't know if the game script is going to be positive for St. Brown. I actually think the Lions might be in a spot here where they control the game. We joke about how they're 9-5 against the spread here, Chris. I think them getting those points here are going to be a little too much. I don't think Atlanta deserves to give anybody that many points. So I think I'm going to roll with my Lions here, Jared Goff or not. I don't think Goff is that good to make a difference. So I think the running game here is all that's going to matter.
Yeah, this one, I mean, the spread is 6.5. There are some 7s out there, so if you like the Lions today, you certainly want to shop around. You obviously much rather have 7s than the 6.5. My boy BZ in the chat, I got to give him a shout out. Big Falcons fan. He's saying go Falcons, Scott, but I'm certainly with you on this one. I like the Lions. I think Tim Boyle, we're writing him off too soon. I mean, you sit behind Aaron Rodgers for that many years, you learn something, and I think they're going to have to unlock a little bit for him here. Amon St. Brown, like you said, been a monster. I mean, 11, 12 targets, 10, 8, and 8 catches. So he's been consistent. Freddie, your thoughts here. You know, the Lions have been very good covering the spread. You're catching 7 points here, so any interest there? And are you a believer in Tim Boyle, or are we going to see more of what we saw in that game against the Browns?
Well, this game started at 5.5 when Goff was supposedly playing, and you said something funny, Scott. You said the Lions look at Atlanta. Atlanta's terrible. Well, Atlanta looks at Lions and say, "Wow, they're terrible too."
That's
so
true.
They got a shot too. So listen, Tim Boyle's not the answer. Me personally, I would be playing Blau more than I would be paying Tim Boyle. But listen, they probably think they have this guy behind Aaron Rodgers. I'm sure a lot of people think like Chris do. He sat behind Aaron Rodgers. I get it. Listen, Aaron Rodgers is my favorite. But what I see with the Lions today, if Goff was playing, I totally disagree. If Goff was playing, I think they win this game, hands down. I think Goff is making that much of a difference right now. What that means, I don't know. But with Boyle playing, I would watch out for one guy today. Obviously, they're going to give the ball to Reynolds, but a Jameer Jefferson, I think they're going to have to play this kid a little bit more. When he played in Pittsburgh, he knocked out a couple good runs. I think today, Craig Reynolds and Jameer Jefferson is a guy. If you're looking for a guy, you don't have really many running backs today, and you're looking for this sleeper pick, Jameer Jefferson would be a guy. And I think the Lions win today. I think they run the ball 25, 30 times, and they win the game.
Look at that. Freddie taking that money line on the Lions. He didn't say they're just going to cover. They're going to win the game. Also get Jamal Williams back in this lineup. And, guys, Atlanta has won one game at home this season. I believe they're 1-5 in the Dome, which is kind of surprising. Most teams better.
Actually, I think they won
home.
that game in London. I think they won that game in London.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They haven't won a game at home.
Yeah.
You're right. So no wins at home. So I'm with you. I like the Lions. I do think they can compete, win this game. They're on the right trajectory right now, playing well, playing hard for Dan Campbell. Atlanta's been a roller coaster. So I like the Lions and the points here. I don't hate that money line play either. And Scott, any final thoughts here on this one with the Lions before we move on?
Well, I'll tell you what, all we got to ask is if Freddie sent them pizza. When Freddie sends the Lions pizza, they win. That's how it works. I mean, we just saw it here recently.
I'm 2-1.
Freddie he's 2-1, just like he said. He sends pizza down there to the Lions training facility, and they get a victory. So maybe we need to just FedEx us some pizzas down there to Atlanta. It will get us
then we'll get
victory.
the 6th pick, and everyone's going to blame me for having the 6th pick. That's what's going to happen. And when you get to the 6th pick, all the good players are going to be gone. They're going to have to take Pickett from Pittsburgh, and everyone's going to blame me.
Yeah.
Not that one loss, unfortunately, but it's 2-1. I'll take 67% any day of the week, Freddie. So if that's what it
that's
takes,
good math
keep
Chris.
them pizzas. Absolutely, that's one thing I can do is a little bit of numbers here. So let's move on. Next game, guys, we got the Chargers and the Houston Texans. We talked about it earlier. No Austin Eckler here today for the Los Angeles Chargers. Obviously, a big loss for them, for fantasy players out there. Justin Jackson. I expected to step in, but they're also going to be missing Mike Williams. They're going to be missing some more receivers, Jalen Guyton. So Keenan Allen looks certainly to be in a good spot here, the tight ends. Houston going to be without their one weapon here, no Brandon Cooks on that side of the ball. So Freddie, this looks like a spot the Chargers should roll. Justin Herbert in a great spot. Justin Jackson, a cheap running back play. I mentioned Keenan Allen. Josh Palmer, a guy that can make some big plays. Even a Jared Cook here. Houston might be in trouble with this one without Brandon Cooks in that lineup this week.
Listen, I'm a Chargers fan, but they are so up and down. I'm a big Herbert fan. Today I had to pick up Jared Cook with Kelsey being out. I had to pick up Jared Cook. There was no one on there, and so I'm taking a chance with Jared Cook with all these guys being out. But a couple weeks ago, I picked – there's something about Houston. They play hard for this guy. The rookie quarterback, the team, they play pretty hard for the rookie coach. I picked Houston on Twitter on the money line about 3 weeks ago. They played Arizona, I believe. And was it Arizona they beat outright? Tennessee. And I called it, and people thought that was stupid. Today I'm calling right now. Houston is going to beat the Chargers today. This is a $100 bill. I would put a $1,000 bill right now on the Houston. I call them the Houston Oilers. $1,000. Houston's winning that game.
Is there a better helmet than
fantasy?
There you go. Is there a better helmet than the old Houston Oilers? So we can call them the Oilers all you want. Warren Moon and the boys. That's still one of my favorite football helmets. But Freddie dropping bombs here on the show. I love it. Houston to win. I'm going to look up some money line odds on that as Scott's talking here. But Scott, that's a pretty bold call. Freddie's bringing the hot takes here. So can you match that? Are you in agreement here? Or do you think the Chargers roll in this one?
Yeah, I'll tell you though, Chris. I mean, COVID. I mean, it's just making this NFL product just watered down. It's just a shame. But I mean, this is a direct example of that. I mean, Jackson's going to be in a great spot here today. But you know what's going to happen, Chris? Kelly's going to steal his touchdowns. I mean, we see it time and time again. Jackson's just so cheap here. Palmer's another guy that I'd look at in the DFS circles today. But you know what? I don't mind what Freddie's saying here. I mean, you're going to lose that much of your offense. I think that's pretty tough. Herbert, though, he's a special talent. I wish the Lions would have ended up drafting him. Obviously, we could rewind that tape, but that's probably the route we'd all want them to go. But
no, Lions love cornerbacks.
Right. So, yeah, they probably would have ruined them anyway. But so the thing here with me is, I mean, you look at the running back. Houston's 27th in against points being scored. So, I mean, obviously Jackson's here is in a decent spot. We've seen him come in before in the past, so he's a decent play today. Without Cooks, though, with Houston, Chris, I don't think there's anybody that I'd look at today. Maybe like a Nico Collins or somebody if you're looking for some help at receiver might be somebody. They got to throw the ball to somebody, but we'll see what happens there. But I think
Billy White Shoes Johnson.
Billy White Shoes Johnson. There we go. Now all I can hear is the Houston Oilers. I can hear that song in my head now, Chris. But well, old Bum Phillips walking on the sideline over there. But yeah, this game here. I mean, this one here is another boring one here that I probably won't watch much. But yeah, I don't mind that Houston call here, especially with all these guys here from the Chargers have to sit on the sidelines.
Freddie, I can get you plus 440 at the FanDuel Sportsbook. For every 100 you bet, you're getting 440 back on Houston. So I like that call. On it. There you go. Love it. He's locking it in. We'll see if he locks it in his best bets. He's going to be joining us at the end of the show for those as well. So you get a triple dose of the best bets here on this Sunday morning. We had one more question in the chat I missed. And if you guys have questions, again, keep them coming. Juan Carlos Castillo wanted to know, Sony Michel once again. Some people debating Michel. Devin Singletary, who we didn't talk much about, but he's certainly taking the lead there in that Buffalo backfield. Or KJ Osborne here from Minnesota. So any thoughts there, Freddie? Got to pick one of those guys today for a flex spot.
I'm sticking with Sony Michel. Singletary, he's just underwhelming for me.
I'd agree with
Michel
Sony
is much
Michel.
better.
I'd agree with Michel. Singletary is just a guy. I mean, he's just so boomer bust. I think his floor is too low. Osborne, I don't mind him, but Jefferson obviously is going to be the main guy there. So Michel, to me, is the guy that I'd rely on. I think they're going to use Michel for the goal line. So especially if you're in a touchdown-heavier scoring format, I think Michel has a better chance to fall in the end zone.
And Detroit Dabbers in the chat trying to wish some bad luck upon Justin Herbert. Said no Mike Williams, Eckler, or Guyton today. Could be a rough day for Herbert. At least I hope so. I'm going against him in my fantasy lineup. So love it there. One more Sony Michel question, guys, from Troy. I think I know where you're going to go here. It's Sony Michel or stay right there in his own team, Darrell Henderson. So guessing Michelle here once again, Freddie.
Yeah, they're both underwhelming, but take Sony Michelle. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd go with Michelle. Henderson's still trying to work his way in there. I think Michelle's the better play. I think he's the guy they're going to give the end zone carries to.
Yeah, it seems like they want him to be the lead back, the early downs back, going to be the goal line back, which fits. That's what he does. Darrell Henderson, more of the change of pace, the big plays, the explosive pass-catching type back, and we know he's gotten hurt so many times. So if they can limit his touches as they roll into the playoffs, I think it makes sense. So I'm with you guys on Sony Michel in that one. All right, next game, last game in the early window, we got Baltimore and Cincinnati. And, guys, the Ravens are not only going to be without Lamar Jackson, we also got word yesterday, Tyler Huntley unable to clear COVID protocols as well. So we are down to Josh Johnson as the quarterback. Now, the last time we saw him was with the Jets. I don't know if that was a Thursday night or a Monday night game, Scott, in Indianapolis. This guy was able to put a lot of numbers on the board. It actually helped people win a lot of money on a showdown slate playing the old backup quarterback. But now starting quarterback here for Baltimore, very limited time to learn the playbook here. Going to be tough sledding, I think, here for Baltimore. So this spread has ballooned from 2.5 all the way up to Cincinnati -7 at most places. I really like Cincy here in this spot. Really like the passing game. Last time these two teams played, Joe Burrow went over 400 yards passing. Jamar Chase had that huge 200-yard receiving game in that one. I love going back to that combination today, Scott.
Yeah, poor Baltimore. I mean, they got to keep winning here to be able to stay in this playoff hunt. And losing your two quarterbacks, I mean, Huntley was looking great. I mean, he was almost looking – I had to take a double take and make sure that wasn't Lamar Jackson. And I know I heard Freddie say it, hey, if Huntley's going to be a free agent, maybe the Lions ought to take a look at that kid. I thought he played really well. The kid's from Utah, I believe. I think he's the guy that should get some love here in the offseason. But, yeah, with Josh Johnson, I mean, not knowing that playbook, I think that's going to make it really tough here. But Andrews, I mean, the guy's just a beast here. If he's going to have to dump it to somebody, I think he's going to have to dump it off to Andrews for some short passes here. So he'd be about the only guy I'd consider playing. Mixon's a guy here I definitely want to look at playing, especially here against Baltimore. I think this game script's going to be pretty positive for Cincinnati. They're going to have to hand the ball off to him quite a bit. But you're right, Burrow had a really good game, 400 yards last time. So did Chase. So I don't mind these guys, but he does spread it out quite a bit. Actually, Baltimore's pretty weak against the tight end, bottom third in the league at giving up points to tight end. So I don't mind C.J. Uzomah making a return appearance here today, as we kind of saw at the beginning part of the season where he ran up a couple touchdowns. But, yeah, I think Cincinnati's here in a really good spot. I think it's just too much for Baltimore to handle with all those missing pieces.
All right, Scott, I'm going to put you to the test here, and we'll get over to Freddie. You got to pick one minimum-priced quarterback on DraftKings. So Josh Johnson, 4K here against Cincinnati, or your boy Tim Boyle, 4K at Atlanta. You have to pick one, and then when you do, is this an actual guy you want to stick in your DraftKings lineups here this week?
Well, yeah, I think that's a pretty tough call. I don't think I'm going to go to any of those spots. If I'm multi-entering a bunch of teams, I'd probably consider it. Baltimore is they're pretty tough against the well, actually, just looking here, Baltimore is actually pretty weak against as far as the passing game goes. So I that's a tough call. I think I'd just probably rather go Johnson, I think, for the rushing upside, but I'm not going to either of those guys, to be honest with you.
All right, Freddie, break this one down. Again, Baltimore in a tough spot here. And the same question. You have to pick one for your fantasy lineups. Are you going Tim Boyle? You said they're going to win the game. Or are we going Josh Johnson here? The guy definitely has ability with his legs. That rushing upside, always huge for us in fantasy.
Chris, I swear you were reading my mind. As he was talking, Scott was talking, I had to pick up Josh Johnson today for my fantasy because Lamar is out. I have Taysom Hill. He's out. I had no one to pick up. I tried picking up the kid from Jacksonville. Couldn't get him. So I got Josh Johnson. So I started thinking in my head before you asked the question, you guys are hyping up Tim Boyle so much. Should I put in Tim Boyle or Josh Johnson? I'm going to stick with Josh Johnson. Listen, Cincinnati, this is going to be one of their first big spots. They want to take that next level and beat the Baltimore Ravens, beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. You got to win a game like this, right? This is the kind of game you got to win. Baltimore's hurting. John Harbaugh is a great coach. I still think Baltimore can win this game. I don't know how in the hell they're going to do it, but they're going to have to run the ball and play some defense. I think Baltimore can do it. I personally will stick with Josh Johnson. Maybe I'm biased because I have him on my team, but I would watch out for Josh Johnson maybe rushing the ball a little bit. And real quickly on Hundley, I was serious about that with the Lions. He's an undrafted free agent. I'm a big risk, big reward guy. Offer him a third-round pick. Bring him here. The kid has something. That's all I'm saying. You never know. Baltimore right here, Chris.
Yeah, we talked about that on one of the shows. Scott, I don't know if it was with you or Beastie was on, but I asked the question, why shouldn't the Lions go after this kid, Huntley? So I agree, Freddie. I think it's a limited sample. We haven't seen a ton, but what we have seen has been pretty good. Maybe not Lamar Jackson, but pretty damn close. They plug him in, and unless you look closer, you may not know the difference there. So, Jared Goff,
Baltimore's going to have to make a big decision soon, right? Are they going to give him $300 million, Lamar Jackson?
Right,
we'll find out.
Exactly. And we know Goff is a bridge quarterback. There's no way this guy, as good as he's been lately, he's not your franchise quarterback, unfortunately. So as far as your quarterback debate, Freddie, I'm sticking with Josh Johnson here as well. I do like Boyle a little bit, but the rushing ability, even if things aren't going well in the passing game, his upside with his legs, he's a guy that can give you 50, 60, 70 rushing yards. That's basically a couple touchdown passes Tim Boyle's going to need to match that. So Johnson for me. Scott, any other thoughts on this one before we move to the afternoon window? Then I'm going to knock out a couple questions here in the chat.
No, I mean, I do think it's interesting, though, with Cincinnati, as Freddie said. They got to get it done here if they want to move forward in that division. I know that division's really tight. They need to win to stay in the playoff race here. But the thing that's interesting is you got two worlds colliding. I think Cincinnati's going to want to run the ball, and Baltimore does not. They're really stingy on the ground here. So we'll see what ends up happening. They've only given up one rushing score since week 7, so we'll see what Mr. Mixon's capable of doing today. But that's the interesting spot for me to see how Mixon does today.
All right, flex question from BZ wants to know Justin Jackson or Antonio Brown today, Scott.
Oh, Antonio Brown all day. He's going to get most of the he's got to be the focus point of that offense. We already know that Tom Brady's definitely familiar with him. I would rather have Antonio Brown today for sure.
Freddie, thoughts on that one?
Oh, AB, I think you might see him coming out of the backfield today. They got no running backs. You might see him come out of the backfield today.
Yeah, I agree. Antonio Brown for me as well. All right, let's transition afternoon. Scott, we'll go to you here. Chicago and Seattle up next. This one, kind of an ugly game. We mentioned the weather here. Fields questionable, Dalton out, so we may be down to the third-string quarterback here for the Bears, and that is, of course, Nick Foles. So, Scott, any interest here? An ugly game, a low total. We also have weather concerns.
Yeah, there's not really too much here in this game that I'd be looking at. I just can't roster Russell Wilson here recently. I think Penny is interesting as far as a running back goes, but, I mean, if you got to dig deep, the Bears are about middle of the league of giving up points to running backs. But, yeah, this one here is a boring game. You got a low total. I mean, for me, though, this one here is another one. I mean, we got so many bad games already so far that we've gone through, and this one here adds another. But, yeah, I'm not interested in any of these guys here for DFS today.
Freddie, thoughts on this one?
I think this is a good spot here for Justin Fields. I think maybe he can listen, Seattle's ready to implode. The coach is probably out the door. Quarterback's out the door. Could you imagine next year in the offseason a swap Justin Fields for Russell Wilson in Chicago? Could happen. You never know. But I'm looking at Justin Fields here having a big game. Seattle, they're done. The team, that rain, that run is over. And I could see a big spot here for Chicago, and I would definitely go Justin Fields.
All right, let's move to the next one, Kansas City and Pittsburgh. Obviously, the news here, both tight ends going to miss this game. No Travis Kelce. Freddie, bringing that breaking news for us, was unable to clear COVID protocols. Also, no Pat Freiermuth on the other side for the Steelers. Kansas City, big favorites here, Freddie. Do they roll in this one? Does Pittsburgh have any shot to keep this game close and cover these 8 points?
Actually, as much as I love Houston, I have 3 games I liked this week. Houston's one of them. I like the Pittsburgh Steelers in this spot. Kansas City has been playing really well. Pittsburgh has been at this level for many, many years. They know how to win big games like this. They always play well in Kansas City. Pittsburgh's a team I would definitely watch to keep the game very close, maybe even squeak out a win here. Big Ben has been in these moments. Obviously, Kansas City has been playing really well, but it's going to be different without Kelsey there because they're going to double-team Tyreek Hill. The running game is not great. Pittsburgh defense can rush you from the outside, so I would definitely be on the Pittsburgh train to maybe even win this game today.
Freddie, I've created a 3-team parlay for you on the money line here. So we got, you mentioned Houston winning the game. You said Detroit could potentially pull the upset here along with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So that same $100 bill that you flashed earlier, we put that on a 3-team money liner over at FanDuel. You're walking away with $8,800 on that one. So what do you think of that bet?
I'll put 200 on it.
We go 16,000. That wasn't enough for him. He's getting 17,000. I love it. So Scott, he's very optimistic on the Steelers. Do you agree here? Obviously, Kelsey a big loss. Now, if I'm Pittsburgh, I can focus on slowing down Tyreek Hill and not really worried about the Byron Pringles and the Noah Grays of the world.
Yeah, this is the last home game for the Chiefs here, so I think this is an opportunity for the Chiefs to lock up that #1 seed. But I like what you guys are saying with Pittsburgh here. Without Kelsey, I think he's just such an integral part of that offense that I'd like to see how they operate without him here. I'm not a fan of this Chiefs running game at all. And if he's going to drop back, I think Pittsburgh has the tools to get to Mahomes. So I think you're going to see them causing a little bit of havoc there. I do like Najee Harris today. I think Najee Harris is a pretty interesting spot. Kansas City has struggled against a running back. They're in the bottom 10 in the league about giving up points to running backs. So I do not mind that at all. If we can get Najee Harris rolling, it's going to open things up for Deontay Johnson in that passing game. And we know Ben likes to lock in on a receiver. That has been Johnson. He does like to throw it to Claypool, but Johnson's his guy. So I think Johnson here is a pretty good play against this Chiefs defense. But, Chris, I think actually this game here has the makings for an under. I'm actually looking at a little bit lower scoring game than normal that you would think with these two teams. But, yeah, I can get on board with what you guys are saying about the Steelers, especially without that main weapon of Kelsey that they have.
And, Chris, I was looking at the standings really quick on the I hate to cut you off on the
no, you're fine.
Their division. Cincinnati and Baltimore are tied 8-6. Pittsburgh's third with 7-6. So if they get that win, they could be tied for second, either behind Baltimore or Cincinnati. So I don't know what the rest of their schedule looks like, but it's a big. This could be a big win for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, even going into yesterday, Cleveland was still in the mix too. It was one of the rare times all four teams in a division were within one game. So Cleveland had their chances yesterday, but absolutely a big game here for Pittsburgh. And no Kelsey is certainly going to help that cause. So I had a couple other comments in the chat I wanted to highlight. Alberto Blanton saying Jake Fromm, the best cheap quarterback today. So we have to add him to the mix as well. I think I'm sticking with Josh Johnson there, Freddie. I think you agree. We've seen enough from Jake Fromm. Ryan Sigler saying go Lions. So of course, more Lions support. Our boy Joey 2 times, good morning to him. Always active in the chat. Says bring in Huntley and Gardner Minshew, guys, for Detroit. Let them battle it out for the job. So thoughts on that real quick. Gardner Minshew, future Detroit Lion.
I like Gardner Minshew. I'd take him. You see how excited he got when he had that last victory for Philly with his dad? You know, I saw a clip of him hugging his dad. That's what we need around here. We need some of that kind of mojo around here in Detroit. So I'm on board for some Minshew train, that's for sure.
Huntley reminds me of Russell Wilson, bigger Russell Wilson. He can run. You need that guy. The Lions have never had a mobile quarterback. I don't know why, but they've never. Give me a mobile quarterback. Take your chances.
There you go. Agreed. So let's get to our last game. Finish this thing up. We got Denver and the Las Vegas Raiders. Big story here. Teddy Bridgewater out. Drew Lock in as the quarterback today for the Denver Broncos. Vegas side, no Darren Waller, listed as doubtful, so we'll miss here once again. So, Freddie, we'll go to you. Javonte Williams has been fantastic here over the last couple weeks as star running back for Denver. Melvin Gordon there as well. So, with Drew Lock starting, do you want to go the running game here? Do you believe these pass catchers maybe get a bit of a bump with Drew Lock being a little bit more aggressive? I know there's some very low receiving props on Cortland Sutton out there this week that look very appealing. Under 30 yards, I think most of them are. So that's one area that we can attack here. But Drew Lock, do you think he unlocks this offense, pun intended there?
Well, Drew Lock, I mean, you're kind of running out of time. I mean, you got to string some big games together. You might be pretty much a backup the rest of your career. If you want a shot at starting somewhere in this league, you're going to have to start winning some games. Listen, the Raiders are playing really well. The quarterback for the Raiders, man, Carr, he's having a sneaky good season. You think about all the turmoil that's going on with the Raiders, he's having a really good statistical season. It's not showing up in wins and losses, or wins, but he's doing really well. Listen, Denver, this is a throwback game, man. This is the old John Elway, versus pick a Raider quarterback from L.A. or Oakland, whatever. This is one of the AFC West throwback games. I like Denver here. I like Fangio. I think he's a good coach. I think they're going to run the ball. Max Crosby's my guy on the Raiders. He might sack and break Locke's neck. Who knows? But give me Denver in this spot here, and I think they're going to run the ball and do well against the Raiders.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Max as well. The old double X on the name. I love it. So
yep.
A local kid, Eastern Michigan. So love seeing him having some success. Scott, finish us up here, and then we're going to get to best bets. I know it's everyone's waiting for in the chat. Very active chat this morning, so glad to see it again. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to everybody out there from the team here at Woodward Bets, and for Freddie for joining us. Love having him here on the show with us. Scott, final thoughts here on this game. Broncos, Raiders, what are we doing in this one?
Yeah, I got to agree. I mean, I wish Javonte Williams would just get the lion's share of carries so we can see what this kid can do. We obviously know Fangio likes him, some Melvin Gordon, so he's obviously going to be involved. The Raiders are in the bottom three again in the league against giving up points to running backs here. So I like what you guys are saying. I think they're going to run all over these Raiders here today. And this game here, Freddie brought up them old Raider quarterbacks. That'd be Jim Plunkett and John Elway rolling against you with Don Criqui on the call on the old CBS channel. So I miss that guy's voice. That totally reminds me of football, him and Summerall and all those guys from way back. But, yeah, I think this is a pretty good spot for the running backs. It's just hard to play either one of these guys in DFS because you're not too sure which of the guys is going to get the lion's shares of the carry. But Williams is definitely interesting. And another spot here today, too, I think Noah Fant's interesting. The Raiders also struggle against the tight end. They're bottom 4 in the league and giving up points to tight ends. So I think that would be a pretty good spot for him as well. But, yeah, we'll look at Josh Jacobs maybe a little bit here. The Denver's pretty tough against the run. They're top 5 in the league against the run. So I think the Raiders are going to have their work cut out for them. But if they are going to stay in the game, Derek Carr is going to have to throw quite a bit. You might find Morneau is a pretty cheap tight end you can use. But we do know Hunter Renfrow is a guy that he definitely likes to throw to. He's boomer bust. I know a couple weeks ago he had 30-some points. Last week he didn't do so well. But I think this is a spot here where he's going to get a lot of short throws and try to have to keep up with this Denver offense. So this one here isn't one that I really enjoy as far as DFS. I think there's too many question marks. There's a lot of other better spots here, but Williams is interesting for sure. And I do like Denver here to run all over the Raiders.
Yeah, I like Williams as well. He started to take control of the backfield a little bit last week. Outsnapped Melvin Gordon 44-31. So it's been a split, but we're starting to see him be more of the 60-40, 70-30 type split there in that backfield with all these cheap running backs. I mean, we've talked about Ronald Jones, Justin Jackson. I think that's pushing ownership away from some of these guys like Javonte Williams. So I'm in agreement. I like Denver here. I like Williams. Raiders without Waller, not a ton of interest in that side. This Denver defense still pretty solid. So, and I want to say thanks to Detroit Dabber out there in the chat. He's helping me do my job here. Forgot to mention, if you're on YouTube, we got a big crowd there gathering up in the YouTube chat. So appreciate you guys. Make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button, guys. Subscribe to the channel. Get notified when we go live with these videos. But every Sunday morning, we're here 9 to 10. Talking NFL football. So, guys, we've broken down the slate. We've given you some thoughts on our favorite plays in DFS. Now it's time to throw that money around. Freddie's already got a $17,000 winner on the table here with his money line bet. But, guys, let's give the people our absolute best bets here for today. Freddie, you are our guest, so as a host, always let the guests go first. What do you got here? Best bets for this NFL Sunday.
Listen, I think I'm supposed to pick one game, right? So I'm giving you the 3-team parlay. I'm going to give you that. I'm giving you New England Patriots, Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm calling them the Houston Oilers. To hell with the Houston Texans. Houston Oilers. Give me that 3-team parlay. Chris said $8,800. Put $200 on, you win $16,000. Then come to me, donate $10,000 of it to the foundation. I'll make sure it goes to Michigan schools for autism, and I even throw in a couple pizzas. But if I had to pick one of the teams out of that, I'm going Pittsburgh Steelers. Put all your money on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Right here. Money line. It's got to be plus 230 or something.
Yeah, I think I'll look it up as Scott's giving his best bets. But, Freddie, just want to say thank you for joining us, and thank you for all the good that you are doing out there in the community. Not only feeding us some amazing pizza that I'm going to get down there and try hopefully this week, but all that you're doing for the community and for autism. We greatly appreciate you joining us and for all the hard work that you are doing, my friend. You got it. Scott, let's get over to you. Best bets for Week 16 here. What do we got?
Chris, my first one, I got two today. My first one, I'm going with the over in that Cincinnati and Baltimore game, over 41. I think Cincinnati's going to put up quite a bit of points. I actually like the team total for Cincinnati today, but Cincinnati over is my best bet. And then, Chris, I'm going to do it. I'm going to be a homer. I'm wearing a Barry Sanders jersey. We got Freddie in studio. I'm going with the Lions. I'm going to take the Lions, and we're going to get us some money today. Let's go.
Oh, that's funny. I love it. Ruin that draft pick.
Honey gun to fire out. You guys are throwing hundreds around like it's nothing. So I love to see it. Absolutely. So some of my best bets here for today. I like the over on the Tampa Bay Carolina game. I think Carolina is in trouble, no doubt, but I think Tampa Bay going to put up some points. I think Carolina can do enough to push us over the total on that one. So I'm going to go over in Carolina, Tampa. I really like Cincy. I know we have some optimism for Josh Johnson. Freddie had some good things to say about John Harbaugh. I don't disagree. I think they're going to be in trouble here in this game against the Cincinnati Bengals. So give me the Bengals in that one. And I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills, guys. I think they get it done here this week against the New England Patriots. So more of a money line play there. The spread only 1.5. Get you a little money on that money line with the Buffalo Bills. And, guys, that will wrap us up here. Week 16, Woodward Bets here live. Those guys in studio throwing the money around here. We got $17,000 parlays. We got pizza. We got Barry Sanders jerseys. And we got an amazing group in that YouTube chat. So thank you so much.
And we got him picking the Lions. You believe this? He's picking the Lions.
Absolutely.
Look, Detroit fans. He's ruining your draft pick right here. This guy right here.
They can't
so
make
when you
the
don't
right
get
pick
Aiden Hutchinson,
anyway.
blame him.
They can't make
Single-handedly
the right pick
ruining
anyway.
the season. All right, guys, final thoughts. So for the people, Scott, let's go to you first. So what do we got?
Man, excited, glad to have Freddie in studio today. Just looking forward. Chris, I got to have to relax a little bit today. These last few days here beat me up. Is celebrating all this Christmas. So I'm looking forward to just plopping my butt in that chair, eating some leftovers that I got, and getting us some lunch money.
Love it. Freddie, thanks again for joining us. Final thoughts for the people out there. Give them your socials. Anything that you want to plug, my man, please feel free to do so.
Listen, for me, it's easy. My final thoughts, 2020 and 2021 have been rough for a lot of people for a lot of different reasons. I don't care where you lie, but listen, be good to people, be kind, treat people the way you want to be treated. You want to be treated good, you treat them the same way. When you eat food, you want to eat good food, right? You don't eat bad food, right? So when you treat people good, then you get treated good. That's the way it works in this world, man. That's simple as that.
Absolutely. Well said. I love it. And thanks again for joining us, Freddie. We really appreciate it. And hopefully we can have you back here on future episodes of Woodward Bets.
Anytime.
Thank you so much to everybody out there. Again, I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, a Happy New Year coming up. If you're out there doing it up, please do it safely. Want to say thank you to our boy Kareem behind the glass producing the show. None of this possible without him, and to the team there at Woodward Sports as well. And again, thank you to you guys for getting up early, hanging out here wherever you are listening to us. We greatly appreciate your support. So for Scott, for our special guest, Freddie the Pizza Man, make sure you guys are checking him out. I am Beer. We are Woodward Bets. Best of luck in your fantasy, your DFS, and your betting today. Again, thank you for watching.